Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we have another Innistrad Midnight Hunt Premier Draft, and we've got a mythic rare White Angel in this pack that I think I'd like to try out today. 3 white and 2 more for a 3/3 flying double strike. It gives yourself hexproof, and if your life total would be reduced to 0 or less, instead transform Enduring Angel and your life total becomes 3. So it's, yeah, a 5-mana 5/5 flying double strike, already pretty good. The other abilities on it are kind of just the icing on the cake. Get hexproof and potentially save yourself from death once, getting a giant flying hexproof in the process. Sure. Let's try out the Enduring Angel here. The one thing I don't like about slamming this down is there are other really good white cards in this pack. Gavony Dawnguard and Dualcraft Trainer are both premium commons, so it's likely whoever we're passing to will also try to go white, but this card seems so good, I just don't think I can really pass up on that. And we get a pretty good follow-up here in the second pack, Ambitious Farmhand. Excellent deal here, 2 mana for a 1/1 that grabs the plains out of your deck. Another card with some icing on the cake there of the Coven ability. It's already good just as a 1/1 that draws a plains, but kind of gets a lot better when you can even turn it into a 3/3 lifelinker later in the game. I'm a pretty big fan of the Farmhand, as you will know if you've seen previous drafts, and pretty happy to take it here. Basically the 2-mana version of a Search Party Captain. Sure, the card it draws is always just a plains, but when you're getting that consistently on turn 2, that's a pretty good deal. And I do really like Search Party Captain, but I think the Farmhand is just a bit better, being a consistent cheap card to cast here. And it really helps with Enduring Angel since we do need 3 white sources to cast it. So that'll help us a lot in our 2-color decks. Getting the triple white that we need. Alright, and some more good cards showing up in this pack here. This will actually be a bit of a difficult decision for me. So in my last white-black deck a couple drafts ago, I did have multiple Audrix Outriders and I didn't get a single trigger off of them. So there are times where they don't go off. Obviously they're at their best if you're in a deck with a bunch of Decayed Zombies. Right now we're only committed to white, which means we don't even know if we will get cards that produce Decayed Zombie tokens. So I kind of think Search Party Captain's going to be better here because it's just more flexible. This is good for literally any white deck. The 4-mana 2/2, when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. Sure, the cost reduction only working when you attack with creatures means it's not the greatest in a super controlling deck, but pretty much any white deck in this format is going to have tons of creatures, so you will be getting that cost reduction. I think I'm just going to scoop up the Search Party Captain here over the Audrix Outrider because that card just seems a bit more narrow to me. And here, yet again, it looks like one of the better cards in this pack is just a mono white card, Candlegrove Witch being a decent card. 2 mana for a 2/2, and it is a flyer during combat on your turn when you have Coven. So that is 3 creatures on board with different powers. So the Witch is great. Works to fill out the curve as a 2-mana 2/2 and jumps into the sky later on during board stalls. So that's just been a consistently good card to me. Soul Guide Griff, pretty good as well. 5 mana for a 3/4 flyer, exile a card from a graveyard. But we do already have one big 5-mana flyer. So we can try to get those expensive cards later on. More important to fill out the cheap cards first, because you just have more room for cheap cards than expensive cards because you're going to more consistently cast them. And here we are in pick 5 with another Ambitious Farmhand. Seems like a really easy pick to me. There are other great cards in the pack. We do see a pretty late Organ Hoarder here. That I think is the biggest signal out of this whole pack. Organ Hoarder pick 5 being the best blue common. Maybe we scoop that and just try to go blue-white here. But I also really like the idea of just taking Ambitious Farmhand and still being completely open on what our second color is, and maybe even, highly unlikely, but maybe even being mono-white. You know, I think since this is a recording, since this is a video for everybody to see, I should go ahead and put my foot down and say, if you're trying to draft your absolute best, you should probably take Organ Hoarder here and just jump on the blue train, because that's a big sign that blue is pretty open. But I am a bit of a dork who really, really enjoys Ambitious Farmhands, and enjoys drafting monocolored sometimes, even in sets where you technically shouldn't try it. So there are multiple reasons I like Ambitious Farmhand there over Organ Hoarder, and they're probably not correct reasons. So I'm taking that Farmhand, and, you know, now there's a very slight chance we can just go mono white. Who knows? Either way, our second color is still open here. We could take Hobbling Zombie, probably the best common here, a Death Toucher that can replace itself with a Decayed Zombie when it dies, but Cathar Commando's fine too, and keeps us in mono white. So we'll take that Commando. Let's just scoop up every white card and be really dorky about it here. Yeah, let's grab a Morning Patrol. You know, we're at the point in the format where I have drafted enough that I like doing some silly things that probably aren't correct. So at this point, I might commit to mono white. Defenestrate, probably the best pick in the pack, followed by Dawnheart Mentor, but we're going for some silly stuff today. Let's make sure we can always cast Enduring Angel turn 5, shall we? If every land in our deck is a Plains, we can certainly do that. So we don't have any removal yet, so I'm kind of cool with Sun Gold Barrage here over Ritual Guardian. Again, best card in the pack, probably Hobbling Zombie, but now I'm getting to the point where I really want to try to do mono white because it just seems kind of funny to me and enjoyable to play with. So this pack, the best card in the pack is probably Revenge of the Drowned, one of the better blue interaction spells, so we'll grab that because there's nothing in white anyway. I'm not going to play Homestead Courage. I'm not a big fan of spending a card just for 2 +1/+1 counters, so I guess we'll take another random blue card. Maybe we end up getting pushed into blue-white here. Larder Zombie is certainly not unplayable. Can put in some work. Everything in this pack's close to unplayable. Just take a Rotten Reunion, I guess. And sure, a Candlelit Cavalry to finish it off. See what we open up in pack 2. Maybe we'll just open a white rare in all 3 packs and get massively paid off. That is not what is happening here, though. Arlen, the pack's hope, is the rare out of this pack. We can't exactly play red, green, and white easily in this format. So I think we're just going to pass Arlen here. The question is, what do we take? We could take Blessed Defiance and stick with mono white, or we could take Sacred Fire, being a good, efficient removal spell, if we move into red-white here. I feel like red has not been that open. I think it's been one of the least open colors it looked like in the first pack to me. Blue, we saw some good cards late. Black, we saw some good cards late. And green as well, I feel like, but not red. Maybe that's just how the packs were distributed. I do think Sacred Fire is probably the best card here to go with what we have so far. Unless we're still really on the monocolored train, then we pick up Blessed Defiance. Let's commit. Completely monocolored. Best pick in that pack, probably the red-white card there, but I'm okay throwing this draft in the trash if it means doing something really silly and crazy this time around. Let's grab a Blessed Defiance here. Alright, now we're just getting a bunch of combat tricks and nothing else in white, so the people to our left did go ahead and scoop up all those white cards that we passed, so this is where things fall apart for us, but now we get to see what they're passing us, and seems like good black cards still coming around. I'm not going to take a Flare of Faith when we already have double Blessed Defiance in terms of combat trick style stuff, so let's just grab a Hobbling Zombie. I think it's best for the black-white color pair, being a creature that has 2 creatures on the 1 card, because black-white does have some stuff that cares about creatures dying a lot and creature tokens and stuff like that. So hey, Gavany Trapper, super playable for monocolored or any white deck, so pretty easy pickup here. Even if we were a 2-color deck at this point, Gavany Trapper is a pretty good card to pick up. Lunarch Veterans, pretty solid. Again, one of those cards that is at its best with ways to sacrifice it, but we could still use this as a cheap 1-mana creature to help trigger like Search Party Captain's cost reduction and stuff like that. Alright, Clarion Cathar's a sweet pickup here. 4 mana for a 3/3 and a 1/1. Late Defenestrate there for white-black. So If I were strictly trying to win here, I probably would have ended up in... I would have taken that Organ Hoarder pack 1, but I don't think I would stay tied to blue because we didn't see like great blue stuff after that point. I feel like we saw a lot of black. We'd probably just be like white-black again, and I've drafted white-black, I think even on video, like 4 times now. Off video, I think I've drafted white-black like 10 times, so... The fact that this draft would likely end in just another white-black deck means I'm okay with a mediocre mono white deck if it means doing something pretty different here. But yeah, a lot of those picks in pack 1 I remember just being like, ooh, late Hobbling Zombie and stuff, and passing up on it for white cards. That being said, if we had stuck with blue, we could have had a really sweet blue-white Disturb deck. I haven't drafted that strategy very often, so that would have been a super fine deck to end up in. It's also a really good color pair, really powerful deck. It's not my exact cup of tea in terms of gameplay. I think I've only played that color pair once or twice before. Definitely did it once on stream. Anyways, we're just going to keep taking off-color cards because the white cards have been scooped up this pack. Really hoping to get paid off in the last pack. Which theoretically we should, because now whoever's on our right is seeing like 0 white cards this pack. Because we're also seeing like 0 white cards this pack. Alright, we have a bunch of random black stuff. If we need to be black-white, we can do that. I guess if we need to be blue-white, we could... potentially do that too, but our blue stuff's weaker here. Well, these are both not great cards. Alright, we do get a Gavany Silversmith here. I think that'll be the pick for me. We have 4 good 2-mana creatures already. Search Party Captain's often cheaper than 4. We have the 1 4-mana creature right now. So I think Silversmith it is. The other costs are looking decently filled up. And when you draft monocolor like a doofus like I am here, it does make your picks really easy. You just gotta figure out what is the strongest card in your color. Yeah, we see Lord of the Forsaken, Infernal Grasp, Defenestrate here. I think we would literally just be playing like my 11th white-black deck if I were strictly drafting to win this draft. Although there's good blue stuff too. The universe in which we ended up in blue-white Disturb I'd be pretty happy with. The universe in which we ended up in black-white, we'd probably have a really good deck, but I would also be a little bored. Because I've just done it so much, you know? I think Clarion Cathars here, again, for curve reasons, for filling out all the mana costs well here. Another Morning Patrol it is this time. Yeah, this is a crazy draft. I think this is my first draft in a while that I would firmly say there's very there are very few good reasons to draft the way I am here. I just want to draft mono white here. It seems cool. I guess the Werewolves deck that we drafted, we did force that, but we ended up with a really sweet deck that time. Alright, Silverbolt seems good to me. Get some removal in here. Ritual Guardian it is. We don't even have to do any deck building here. It is all set up. Because we're going to have... So far we have 21 cards. You need 23 non-land cards for your average limited deck. So I really don't think we're going to end up getting to cut anything here. Should be some very simple deck building today, so... This is the draft we all get to shut off our brains and just take white cards. Have a fun time with it. Just see what happens here. There we go, 23 card deck. Once we start taking more cards, I'll start cutting Ritual Guardians, I think, being only 2 toughness on that 3 mana card. Morning Patrol has some resiliency coming back from the grave. Celestial Sanctifier I don't love either. So these would be my first cuts. If we see any more cards, I'm actually going to rare draft at this point. Alright, looks like we are not going to see any more white cards, so this is going to be the deck here. And we're just going to roll with it. See what happens. Alright, yeah, that's the deck, so let's just give it a title here. Oh, we're just very bland mono white stuff. It's mayonnaise. It's probably misspelled. It's probably like mayonnaise, like that or something. That's probably still misspelled, but that's the deck we're going with today. The mono white mayonnaise deck. I have drafted mono green in this format before because we took an unnatural growth, the 4 green and 1 card. That was during a live stream, but never drafted any other color mono-colored, so we're going to have an experience today, even if it's an 0-3 experience. This should be a fun draft to play around in here. All I'm saying is, after a couple of weeks of doing laps, sometimes you want to go play around in the kiddie pool. Alright, well, we are off to a terrible start. Our opponent is on the play with an aggressive black-red deck, curving out. Turn 1 creature, turn 2 creature. We'll see what they do turn 3. But Vampire Interloper, a scary start. Yeah, Vampire Interloper into Arrogant Outlaw. They are doing the thing here. Let's just get a Morning Patrol out here to wall things off on the ground. But this Interloper is going to be putting in some work. We're down to 13 already with the Interloper plus Outlaw combo there. Alright, no play turn 4 at least. I like Bereaved Survivor, trying to flip it here with a Blessed Defiance to hold up. Because Morning Patrol has Disturb and Vigilance, we can attack with both of these pretty freely here. We'll still have Morning Patrol as a blocker most likely. I don't think they would want to trade with that here. They might go for a block of Ecstatic Awakener on Candlegrove Witch, sacrifice a card to make it a 4/4. If they do that, we have Blessed Defiance. Ooh, alright, well, we have Blessed Defiance for this instead. This also works for us, and we get a 1/1 Spirit out of this card to block that Interloper. This feels like an incredible exchange for us. Yeah, we're gaining 4 life to go to 17 here, clearing their board outside of their Interloper, and getting the 1/1 flyer to block the Interloper. That was a great exchange. Turns things right around. I was very worried at the start, and now I'm feeling pretty comfortable. That's where these Blessed Defiance cards really overperform. They do not look all that exciting, but you get an exchange like that, and you're like, oh, alright, Blessed Defiance. This 1/1 flyer just really matters here. Okay, so we're not really going to get to attack yet anymore now that they have a 3/4 flyer on their board. They're black-red here. They could have Diregraph Horde to exile cards from our grave, so we could just cast Morning Patrol right now, so it's less likely it gets exiled. It's also a 2/1 Flying Vigilance instead of something on the ground. We're not really attacking with anything either way, so let's just get our Morning Apparition on the board. Because we can't attack with anything either way, we don't really need any more blockers, especially not on the ground, so we might as well play the card that's a little bit at risk of getting exiled there. The other thing to consider is our cards in hand are at risk of getting discarded if they're running no way out. So there's that to consider too, potentially. Ooh, Vampire Socialite put a counter on all their vampires since they damaged us here, but that is a 2/2 on the ground, and it's their only blocker, so it would trade for Avenger here. I don't like Avenger dying without getting any value, but it would trade off for a Socialite, so that's not bad at all. We're killing a really good creature on their board to do so. Also, everything else would get in here. I guess we could attack with everything except Avenger instead. Yeah, that seems actually pretty fine. But yeah, we just don't know if we're ever going to be in a position where we have a creature that costs 2 or less in our graveyard anyway. Because the only one we have on board is Candlegrove Witch. Yeah, screw it. Let's actually attack all. Very indecisive on this attack. The entire choice on attacking with Avenger or not is basically, do we think that its attack ability is ever going to matter? Because if it's not going to matter, trading with a Socialite is just a good on-board trade. We trade a creature with 1 more power for a creature that can put counters on the rest of their field as they play more cards. So I think we just take that trade there. I don't think Candlegrove Witch is a premium target right now for their removal, as we see from Foul Play taking out our 2/1 Flying Vigilance instead of our Candlegrove Witch. It would have still been quite a while before we'd be returning anything with the Dauntless Avenger. Alright, they do get a clue token from Foul Play, a great cheap removal spell there. They're going to keep hitting us with Interloper because that card cannot block anyway. And we're really going to need to get this Blood Tithe Collector out of the way. We have Gavany Trapper, Blessed Defiance to do that mainly. Sun Gold Barrage. Got a few ways to do it. Even a Silverbolt would stack up to be enough damage to do that. But for now, I think we're just staying in place here. We could attack with everybody, but we lose the Lifelinker to deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to them. They go down to 12. We take 3. Attack everybody, lose this. They take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They go to 6. And that's gone. And then we just have that, and that. They block that. Take 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, no, we're not going to win the race attacking with every creature every turn. They'll whittle down our board fast enough to survive. Unless we just draw straight gas, so I think we're just waiting for removal here. Wake to Slaughter. Choose 2 creatures. 1 goes to hand. The other goes on the battlefield with haste till end of turn. Which one do we want to just die this turn? This is actually pretty bad for us. Because Arrogant Outlaw is going to make us lose life, but it's going to do that at either time. Socialite only puts counters out if we put it in their hand. So let's put Outlaw in their hand. Well, actually, I guess Outlaw only damages us if we put that in their hand. I think we care more about the +1/+1 counters, though. Then they're going to have a 4/3 and a 5/6 flyer. So put Outlaw in the hand and accept the life drain. Don't let them get the +1/+1 counters, I guess. That's a rough choice. Either way. They're going to attack with Blood Tithe Collector here. I'd be happy with that. That would mean we get to send in our Lifelinker next turn. They hit for 7, cast Outlaw, drain us for 2 more. We go to 2 life, but then we're going to gain 3. Gain 3, we'd be at 5 life. Chump block there, take 3 there. Yeah, we survive that. Pretty sure. Oh no, Wake to Slaughter can just put the Outlaw back in their hand after this. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, if they play another mana, they can just throw Outlaw back into their hand. To drain us for 2 more. That's going to be a bad time. Silverbolt is a good draw. We can kill the Interloper with that. We need to leave something on the ground to block this Outlaw in case they choose not to block here. I think I like attacking with Morning Patrol, though, because then we bring it back as a flyer. We don't have enough mana to bring it back as a flyer and Silverbolt something, but they don't know we have Silverbolt in hand, so I don't think they would block Morning Patrol here. Because they know if it dies, we get to play it as a flyer, and we have something to block their Interloper. We have a 2-power creature to block there. So then we go chump block there, block there. So I feel like they don't block Morning Patrol here, most likely. Yeah, so we just get that extra damage in there, since it's Vigilant anyway. And now we play Silverbolt. And I'm going to wait on it. Because if I Silverbolt right now, they just wake to slaughter immediately, and one of these comes back with the haste, and the other goes to hand. If they only have one creature in grave, well, I guess they have Awakener, but Awakener doesn't really matter. If they only have these 2 in grave, they're not going to get max value here. Alright, so because we know they can get Arrogant Outlaw no matter what here, we have to take no damage, because Outlaw would deal 2 to us. So in order to take no damage, we have to chump block Blood Tithe Collector and shoot Interloper. Kind of have to just draw gas again. We need to hit like Blessed Defiance or something for more life gain. Diagraph Hordes to play. Alright. Luckily we've already cast everything we had in grave, so the exile doesn't matter. That's a lot of power on the board, and a Slaughter Specialist. Okay. Well, if their hand was just full of other gas here, we are in a very precarious situation. Oh, send these 2 in. If Morning Patrol dies, we get another turn. Cool. I'll take it. We are no longer dead on board. I guess not on board, but like they just cast this Wake to slaughter and get their Outlaw out, and we die. So dead to onboard tricks, I guess, is what you would call that. So now we might get an extra turn, since they took that block there. It'd be a turn to maybe get our Enduring Angel. That would be crazy. I think that's our best possible draw. We need to block everything to not die to an Arrogant Outlaw. Again, if they spend 6 on this and have a land, so they go land, 6 mana, pick Arrogant Outlaw back to hand, and then cast it. Because obviously if we let them put it on the battlefield, it'll just do its enter the battlefield effect. So technically we only lose to Wake to Slaughter here if this card in hand is a land, but we can't take that risk that it's not, so let's just do the best we can here. I guess, I don't know, what are the odds that we win here? If that card in hand is a land? It's pretty much 0, right? Because we'd block in a way to where we lose all of our creatures anyway, so let's block in a way to where if that card in hand isn't a land, then they don't get to put Arrogant Outlaw on board at least. And maybe we can crack back for lethal here because they're tapped out. So we just attack, or we just block with our weakest creatures for the most damage. And go to 1. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we attack back for 8. If we hit a Blessed Defiance, we attack back for 10. Yeah. This way, if they Wake to Slaughter, we can put their 1 mana card on the board and it just gets exiled, and then their 3 mana card goes to hand and they don't have 3 mana to cast it. And if they choose Interloper, we can put it on board because it can't block, whatever. So if we play this way, then we win if we top deck Blessed Defiance and they don't have a land in hand. think that's like our only out. They have a land in hand. Okay, so we just lose no matter what. Because they can cast Outlaw. And they pick Outlaw. So that'll do it. So again, that's a position where we knew exactly what we were playing around, but it's a position where we shouldn't play around them playing a land into Outlaw, because if we do that, there are no outs in our deck anyway. Even if we hit like an Enduring Angel at that point, we're still going to like 1 life that turn with nothing else on the board if we go for all of the blocks that we would need to go to be alive with 3 or more life there. So we play in the way that gives us some outs that find immediate lethal against them, because that's basically the only way we were getting out of that one. It's just immediately cracking back for lethal. Didn't pan out, but I think it was more likely to pan out than the other way we could have blocked would have been. I think the other way would have just been a definite loss to pretty much any circumstance from our opponent. Alright, well, they've got that Silverbolt out there. They can use it any time to kill one of our cards. Let's just play a Search Party Captain here. Just play our most expendable creatures. And this is only 1 less damage than if we played Ritual Guardian. There's their own Search Party Captain. Alright, next turn we'll have 5 mana, so we can play a 3 and a 2, so I'm not going to play Candlegrove Witch this turn, I'll save it for next turn. The question is if I play Survivor or Guardian. Survivor probably gets shot with the bolts, but that would soak up their mana and they wouldn't be casting anything else here, so all in all, that's pretty fine. But Guardian would be a 3-2 lifelinker, just immediately, because we have a 1-1 out. Sure. It's not like Survivor's ability is doing anything for us until Candlegrove Witch dies, and Candlegrove Witch isn't even on the board yet, so... Alright, so the Search Party Captains are trading, a perfectly balanced trade. Exact even trade. And a Falcon Abomination from our opponent. 2-2 flyer, and they spit out a 2-2 Decayed Zombie token. Blessed Defiance for us here, pretty nice. Got that 5 mana to play Witch and Survivor this turn if we want to. Definitely want a 2-power creature on the board before I declare attacks so that Ritual Guardian can have lifelink here. I'm going to play Candlegrove Witch here. Because if they Silverbolt the Candlegrove Witch, the Bereaved Survivor can bring it back later, potentially. Alright, we do get the lifelink on Ritual Guardian here, so they don't go for the Silverbolt to shut off the life gain. Oh yeah, they only have 2 mana up. I'm just bad at math. Bad at math. They don't have Silverbolt as an option here. Alright, well... they choose to block here, then we're going to Bless Defiance, which means we don't get to cast Bereaved Survivor, but we still get to kill the Falcon Abomination. I think they miscounted their Ritual of Hope there, just getting +1/+1. Those 2 cards still just traded, so that was a pretty good deal for us. We got a 2-for-1 there all of a sudden. So Beloved Beggar is an annoying blocker on the ground, but all of our creatures have flying anyway. So now we're just hitting them for 4 damage a turn. Just going for it. Now we have a Bereaved Survivor that might actually go off. If nothing else, it draws the Silverbolt. Because Candlegrove Witch is more important than the Survivor on board, because the Survivor doesn't do anything until the Candlegrove Witch dies anyway. So yeah, now the Silverbolt has to shoot Bereaved Survivor instead of Candlegrove Witch, which means we get to keep the Candlegrove Witch to keep attacking in the sky. So all in all, pretty good there. And that'll just prompt the concession from our opponent. So 1-1 here with the Mayonnaise deck. Heading into round 3 now. And an immediate game we get into. Still a lot of players in the Innistrad drafts. Alright, well, it's a lot of lands, but 2-drop, 3-drop, not the worst start to a game ever. And now we have an ambitious farmhand as well. We can flip into a 3-3 lifelinker pretty easily. Do I want to play that turn 4? Yeah, I'm going to play it turn 4, get more aggressive here since we're on the play, get as much power onto the board as quickly as possible. Like, we already have our turn 3 and turn 4 lands. We don't need to draw the plains off of farmhand. Bait hook angler from our opponent. I don't like that. Don't like that at all. Let's just trigger Coven then, shall we? Turn 3 Coven. Get this Candlegrove Witch into the sky. Get this farmhand to be a 3-3 on the ground. To be just larger than their 2-1. Seems good to me. It just seems like a great way to get around that 2-1 disturb creature. Just play creatures that are bigger or flying. Siege Zombie from our opponent. Solid creature here. Some premium blue-black cards from our opponent so far. This turn I think we just attack. Their only way to kill the farmhand would be a double block. And then we get to kill both those creatures. Seems like a fine trade to me, even if one of them is a disturb card. A double block it is. We could Bless Defiance as well. That's not going to save the farmhand, but it is going to give us a 1-1 flyer so that we still have Coven after this dies. We'll still have Coven next turn, though, if we just cast a Ritual Guardian, so I don't think it's necessary, but it would get a 1-1 flyer onto the board to start attacking with. But we're not doing any extra damage. We're already killing all these. I think I'm just going to let it through. It's possible that we're supposed to just be using all of our mana as best as we can there. See what they have for us here on turn 4. They're just going to bring back a 1-2 flyer here. Rotten Reunion, going to get a Decayed Zombie. Sure. Then Crawl from the Cellar, put a counter on that Decayed Zombie, pick up the Disturb card so that they can recast it as a 2-1 and then make it a 1-2 flyer after that. Alright, well, we're just going to get Coven again, so a little 2-1 on the ground is not that big of a deal for us. Now we get to hold up Blessed Defiance or Gavany Trapper's ability during their turn. 5 mana from our opponent now. They have access to Rotten Reunion or Crawl from the Cellar in their grave. Another Crawl from the Cellar would bring back a Siege Zombie, but they wouldn't have the mana to immediately cast it. They only have 5 mana here. Looks like they just have a Siege Zombie in hand anyway. Head to the end step. Let's tap down that Angler so they don't have a good trade for Guardian. A trade of Ritual Guardian to Siege Zombie isn't that bad for us, that's fine. But a trade into the Angler would be very bad. Search Party Captain, sweet draw. And I think we just go in here. We have a backup Guardian and a Search Party Captain. We can lose a Ritual Guardian here. That is very fine. They will be trading for the Ritual Guardian here. They are down to 12, so let's knock down this Search Party Captain with 4 mana up in case they have a flip the switch. Draw a card here. One land. Could play around flip the switch and not try to cast Ritual Guardian here. Because we can still use Gavany Trapper's ability, which gets in pretty much just as much damage. Because if I just play a Ritual Guardian and I don't use Gavany Trapper during their turn, I'm not really going to want to attack with it because they're going to have a Bait Hook Angler up. So then I guess I would just tap down Bait Hook Angler during our turn. But if we tap it during their turn, we can tap 2 things down. I think I'm cool just passing here. And the fact that they didn't even Rotten Reunion there to get another Decayed Zombie makes me feel like they almost definitely have flipped the switch. I feel like if they were just holding up Rotten Reunion, they would have just cast it there and got a Decayed Zombie. So that is an instant, right? Yep, it is an instant. So I'm guessing this one last card in hand is a flip the switch, potentially. Okay, so they're going to combat. Do we want to let them attack with Angler? Yeah, we're at 26 life. We just let them attack with whatever. Don't tap anything till the end step. They're going to get 4 damage out of this Decayed Zombie. We will take it. Do they just crawl from the cellar here? Yeah, they crawl from the cellar, make the Blade Stitch Scab a bigger, better blocker, and put a Siege Zombie back into their hand. Let's shut off that Bait Hook Angler because of its Disturb ability. If they block with Blade Stitch Scab, we can Bless Defiance, and now they are tapped out, so we know no flip the switch from them. Let's get a Ritual Guardian out here. Trigger that Coven so we can fly with the Candlegrove Witch. And attack on in. Get another flyer here with Bless Defiance, clearing out the Blade Stitch Scab. Tap down Bait Hook Angler. And we are keeping that aggression on here. There's the Siege Zombie they returned a while ago. Another land from them. That looks to be about it. Alright, tap down that Angler. Getting in for 3 a turn in the sky. There's a Morning Patrol here. We have the 4 mana up to pay for it already. That would lock us off of playing Trapper if they have a flip the switch, so their flip the switch wouldn't be useless here. So we'll see if they have it. Alright, they don't do it here. We hit for 6 if we tap something down right now. Sure, tap Siege Zombie down right now. Hit for 6 this turn. Nebelgast Intruder, okay. So that is a surprise. Still doing a good amount of damage to them here. They are down to 6. We've got a pretty wide board. We have Trapper to tap down 1 blocker each turn. things still look pretty solid. We don't have this yet. Blessed Defiance is pretty huge here. I think that's big enough to tap down Angler and attack with everybody instead of just tapping down the Flyer and attacking with the Spirit. I guess there wasn't a reason to play that land there because we have the 4 mana to pay for flip the switch either way. All right, trade. Hit for 2. Seems good to me. Do we want to get a 1/1 flyer here? We almost definitely do, right? Guess alternatively we can hit them for 4 and put them to 2 life, which is also an option. But once Intruder's gone, they have no more flying blockers, so getting another flyer seems good to me here. Let's get the extra life gain out of it, I guess, throwing it on the token. Dissipate, okay. So it'd get countered anywhere we throw it. Still clear the board out of everything but Bait Hook Angler, and we can tap that down every turn and hit for 2 a turn. It's a top deck war here, but our opponent gets the first draw. Larder Zombie it is. Big enough to block the Morning Patrol and survive, so now we tap that down and then kill the Angler. They get to bring it back with flying here, but it won't survive blocking the Morning Patrol. They're even going to take it here, go down to 2 life now. Oh, we're just going to keep it up here. This will force the Trump block this turn. There's the block. And Hook Haunt Drifter is coming back from the grave to get another chump block. Graveyard Trespasser has been drawn by our opponent now, though, which gains them a life every time it enters the battlefield or attacks, exiles a creature from a grave, and drains us for a life. So that is a really big deal here with them being at 2 life. That life gain could be massive. And it can also exile our Morning Patrol if this ends up in the graveyard, so we can't disturb it anymore. So we have to go on the defensive now and just keep tapping down the Graveyard Trespasser. That costs us a discard every time we do it. That is brutal. Ward, discard a card. Alright, yeah. That is not going to be a fun time for us at all. Now they have Larder Zombie being able to go off to set up their draws. If they hit any more lands, they can just throw them in the discard. Keep away from any flood. Goes to nighttime, so the Graveyard Glutton is a 4/4 now, and it exiles 2 cards every time it attacks. Draining for 2 life. They'll go up to 5 if this thing attacks. Component Collector from our opponent. Sun Gold Barrage is the draw. We can kill the Graveyard Glutton, but we need to draw a card to do that first. I guess we can get in for 2 here if we just kill Component Collector instead. Put them to 1 life, but then the Graveyard Glutton attacks. And they go back up to 3 anyway. So I think we hold on to Barrage to kill the Glutton when we draw another land here. Yeah, as much as I like putting them down to 1 life. If they haven't drawn another creature, we could tap down Larder Zombie and then attack with Morning Patrol if they choose to attack it with the Graveyard Glutton here. And they might be realizing that, yeah, so they choose not to attack with the Glutton because they know we can, if they attack with it, we can tap down Zombie and send in the Patrol. Clarion Cathars is the draw. I think I wait on the Sun Gold Barrage then, because that seems like a pretty big impact on this board. It's enough power and toughness to block and kill Graveyard Glutton if that ends up attacking, and it also spreads our power between a bunch of cards here to make it more likely that we can chip in for damage, tapping things down with Gavany Trapper. More likely to find lethal. So Larder Zombie putting in some work again, looking at the top card of their library. They can throw it in the graveyard if they want. They're going to keep it again. Our opponent has been drawing straight gas. I don't think they've milled a single card off of the Larder Zombie yet. So they like what they're seeing. We know that for sure. I forgot to tap down a card. Graveyard Glutton is going to come in here. So this is another Nebelgast kind of card. A Startle or something like that. They gain 2 life here. They'll be at 5. I don't think we block, because I don't think they would attack in if they didn't have a Startle, because they chose not to attack last turn, so why on earth would they decide now is the time if they didn't have a backup plan here? So I don't think that we block. And I guess we could block with Morning Patrol to get a flyer out. But they have Rotten Reunion to exile that from our graveyard anyway. So we're not going to get a flyer out of disturbing our Morning Patrol. If we block with all 3 of these, we kill the Glutton even if they have Startle or Nebelgast. Because they give -2 power to one of these, and then it's still 4 power total. I also feel like there's a way to find lethal, because we have 6 power on board. I'm gonna not block. I don't know how correct this is here. We'll see why they chose to attack here. They might play like a really big creature, or they might have a Startle in hand or something like that. I guess if they have a Startle in hand, there's no way we find lethal next turn, because they can just Startle to give -2 power to something. Another Component Collector, so 2 1/4s, a 4/4, a 1/2, and a 1/3 over there to get through to find lethal here. I don't think we're doing it this turn. 1 more card in their hand, though. Maybe they were just attacking because they had another blocker now. Are they even going to Rotten Reunion? They're going to Rotten Reunion too. Exile our Blessed Defiance. So now just one card in hand. Let's trapper down one of these 1/4s. Guess it does go to daytime if they do that, so they get to tap down one of our creatures, or two of them with component collectors. And now they cast no spells during their next turn. They tap down two things with the component collectors again. Totally forgot about the collector's abilities. Clarion Cathar is an excellent draw, though. So we'll just get that on the board and still have plenty creatures hanging out. It is daytime for the Graveyard Trespasser now, though, so that's just a 3/3 now. And because that is just a 3/3, it's not attacking in well now. We'll just block it with a single Cathars. Because I'm guessing they didn't have a startle, because they just had another component collector there. Make sure they had plenty of blockers. Plus, with the component collector's abilities to tap down two creatures, they knew they were pretty safe there to play that way. They are going to combat here. The only thing I could possibly see them wanting to attack with is Trespasser, so I don't think we tap anything down with Trapper here. So I'm not going to tap down the Trespasser. That would require discarding my removal spell. They're going to attack with the Flyer here, alright. Fair enough. One less blocker. Again, one more way to potentially find lethal, but with double collector, it's going to be very difficult. We could Sun Gold Barrage one of the collectors instead of the Graveyard Trespasser, now that we have enough blockers for that. And since it's exiled most of the creatures in grave, it's not going to gain too much more life. Actually, no, there's still 5 more creatures in the graveyards. Yeah, it could still gain a lot of life throughout this game, but we have so many blockers on board. And the fact that Barrage makes us discard another card makes it really difficult to justify. So if we Sun Gold Barrage a component collector and it resolves, when it goes to our turn, they tap down a Cathars and they have 2 blockers. We tap 1 down, they have 1 blocker. So they have 1 blocker to block our 3/3. They take 1, 2, 3, 4. They don't take lethal. Yeah, we don't lethal them if we Barrage a collector, so I don't think we Barrage a collector here. If we could find lethal by barraging a collector, then I'd go for it, but even if their hand's complete duds, it's not going to be lethal that way. So we'll keep Barrage. And there's a land, so we can finally Barrage the Glutton. Discard a land. They have 2 cards in hand here. What do they have? Geist Wave to bring it back to their hand and draw a card. Pretty disgusting response. That turns it into a 2-for-1 in their favor here. Yeah, that is very much not a good time for us. Plus, now, because it's still going to be nighttime, they get to recast Glutton, exile 2 cards, drain for 2 more life, so there's not even a good attack here. Even if I tap down Collector, attack all, I lose a 1/1 to deal 3 to them, but then they just gain 2 life anyway. Yeah, Geist Wave was pretty disgusting there. I don't know what we've got left here. We've exiled most of what's in our graveyard. We do still have that Enduring Angel, the Mythic Angel we've yet to draw so far. Definitely our biggest draw. Outside of that, not a ton. Things are looking to maybe just run away from us here. They're just going to get it too high of a life total over time here. And surprisingly enough, we're actually going to mill out before them. They have 16 cards left. We're going to have 15 cards left. So even if they can't find a way to find lethal, like if we start tapping down the flyer, which we don't need to yet, we're still at 23. But even if we start doing that and they just can't break through, we will mill out before they do. That being said, Blade Stitch Scab is a pretty good start to putting some pressure on us. And again, the double component collector is going to start putting in a lot of work here. It's going to tap both of our Cathars, and now they get to start making some big attacks with the zombies. Of course, Graveyard Glutton as well, we're not going to have great blocks for. Doesn't really matter what we tap here. There's no way we're breaking through for lethal at this point. But we'll tap something down for the value. Bereaved Survivor is not going to do much when they've exiled pretty much our whole graveyard. We're not really going to bring back any creatures with the Dauntless Avenger. Another Dissipate from our opponent here. Definitely starting to feel like they have things on lock. With the Larder Zombie to keep peeking at the top card, they know they can get something good. I guess with Larder Zombie, like, if they start milling themselves with Larder Zombie, they will mill out before us. So if we turtle up really defensively, then perhaps there is a way, but it seems unlikely to me. Just send in the Decayed Zombie. They might be taking it back here, keeping that zombie around to use with Larder Zombie. Alright, pass the turn, make it nighttime, double tap the Cathars. Ambitious Farmhand. We have 14 cards in the library, they have 15. We're going to start milling ourselves even worse, dropping down a Farmhand here to where we don't even win the mill game. We can't just not play this here. It is going to be a 3/3 lifelinker on the board. I guess I could choose not to grab the land, but I think I grab the land because I think we're already milling out before them if that's their plan here. So we thin the deck out a little bit, get closer to maybe getting a big old double strike angel. Because that, like, if they run out of removal, that is still a way to end the game, even at this point with everything they have out. And we just keep passing. We could theoretically be attacking with the morning patrol if we really want to flip it. But even if we flip it and get a 2-1 flying vigilance out, that's just going to get blocked by the drifters, so it's not going to get us in or anything. Just trades for the drifter. So we're like losing some value there for not much. They have milled themselves twice now. Alright, now they have less cards in library than we do. So I guess we're back to potentially winning the mill game. It's going to be a long one for sure. Unless they have another bomb in their deck outside of the Graveyard Glutton. Just going to tap their 1 flyer again. And they pass turn. At least they pass through combat. We'll see what they do main phase 2 here. If they have 2 spells, they will cast them both. And they have. So component collectors have gone off every turn now. I don't know how, but our opponent has drawn a spell every single turn. I guess it's from larger zombie. Because they take 1 turn off of casting a spell, that means as long as every card they draw is an on-land, they'll have 2 spells to cast every other turn. There's Enduring Angel, and they have 1 card in hand, 3 blue up. They've already cast double Dissipate. They would need a 3rd Dissipate to counter this. If it's flip the switch, it won't do it. Enduring Angel. If it's the 3rd Dissipate, there is not much we can do on that. Alright, Enduring Angel hits the board, but yet again, these component collectors are going to keep going off, meaning that this Angel is just going to get tapped every turn. It's not actually actively putting any pressure on our opponent here. Because as long as they can keep up their day-night flipping, they can keep this Enduring Angel under lock and key. The problem with that is, in order to do that, they'll need to mill any lands that they were going to draw with the larger zombie, and by doing that, they are going to get closer to decking out. They're at 12 cards right now. It's still quite a while until then, so you don't have to worry about that just yet. And of course, in blue-black, any black removal would kill it, and there's a lot of black removal in the format, and we haven't seen them cast any yet, so I would expect they have ways to kill this Enduring Angel. And now that we have a double striker out, we don't even need to tap something down right now. I'm assuming they're just going to pass the turn here to flip, well not flip, but set it to nighttime and trigger their component collectors, and that looks to be the case. Just tap down the flyers so they know to tap down our flyer here. If they don't tap down our flyer here, we're getting in for 6, and they are at 6, so that'd be pretty cool. So we have a lot of creatures on board. Now would be a good time to double check our math here and make sure we're not actually hitting them for anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blockers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attackers. Yeah, we are definitely not hitting them. So pass the turn it is. There's no artifacts or enchantments on the board for Cathar Commando to get rid of. Alright, larger zombie going off here. They mill another land, putting them down to 10 cards left in library. Another mill from larger zombie. And they keep that card on top of their library this time. So we will find out what they drew into here. It is nighttime, so expect 2 spells from our opponent. Baneblade Scoundrel being the first, coming in as the Baneclaw Marauder. A 5/4, gives blocking creatures -1/-1, and drains us for life. Sure. We're going to tap down their flyer because they've tapped down ours, so we can't block there. And a Falcon Abomination is the second play, another flyer from our opponent. Alright, that'll flip things to daytime here. And even if I cast this Cathar Commando, I won't be able to attack in, so I feel like I just want to hold on to this so that I could flip from day to night or night to day whenever I want to, more easily. So I am just going to hold on to this. And I'm going to keep this land in hand because they have the Graveyard Trespasser out, so I can use that with Gavany Trapper. But I'm just going to pass turn here and flip it to night so they can't tap down 2 of our cards again. I guess, would I rather them tap 2 of our creatures when they want to attack us, or when they want to not get attacked? I feel like I still want them to tap down their creatures and try to get aggressive, because we're at 21 life and we have 6 flying power with Enduring Angel. It's like all we have to do is trapper down both of their flyers and attack with Angel and we'll win. So if we just pass turn here, we flip it to night. It's harder for them to go from night to day than it is day to night. So then there's like a slight chance they can't immediately flip to day and tap down 2 of our cards here. So I think I pass turn. Again, holding the plains because of the Graveyard Trespasser's Ward ability, requiring us to discard a card. Alright, so Larder Zombie's going to go off here for sure. Make sure they draw another card here, but maybe their last card in hand is just a land. Alright, well, whatever was on top is a card that they like. Component collectors are going to go off here. Get a couple taps down. They choose both of our 3/3s, I'm assuming. They tap a Morning Patrol. Okay, so they are probably going to attack here in some way, shape, or form. Alright, Morning Patrol and Clarion Cathars. I feel like I want to shut off the Baneclaw Marauder more than any other attacker they have here. There'd be an argument for tapping down one of the flyers, but I think it's between one of the flyers and the Baneclaw Marauder. And I'm going to shut down the Baneclaw Marauder. If we shut down one of the flyers, if they can't cast 2 spells here, we could kill them with the Angel. But they're almost definitely going to here, especially if they're attacking like this. They're hitting for 13 on the ground here. We can flash in a Cathar Commando. Trade it with Hobbling Zombie. They get another Decayed Zombie out of that anyway, which would be another 3/2 attacker to hit us with one time. Don't think a Cathar Commando block is great. Could double block the Glutton with Cathar Commando and a 1/1. But they're choosing whether or not to attack with that. They're going to take that back. Definitely a big attack here. Eight cards left in their library, still quite a ways from getting milled out, so I think they will probably find a way to get lethal with enough attacks like this, because we just can't afford to lose creatures to trade with these decayed zombies or even really to chump block them, so I think we just take this all. Just take 10, go to 11 now. But that's 2 less attackers on their board now, at least. Those decayed zombies just going away permanently. Silver Bolt. That can kill our Enduring Angel. Yep, I mean, that'll do it. There's no way to kill that in response to them trying to kill Enduring Angel. It's just going to die, even if we play Cathar Commando and try to kill Silver Bolt. Unfortunately. Just going to play this Cathar Commando here. I don't want to flip it today. I want to make them flip it today. They didn't get to flip it today there, which means that they don't get to tap anything this turn. So if we tap down one of their creatures, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blockers instead of 7. 6 blockers against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 attackers means 2 things get in. We deal 2 damage to them. They're at 4, but we lose some of these creatures. Some bounce off. Yeah, we shut off the 4/4, and then they can still set up some good blocks. The 3/3s get blocked by the 1/4, 2/3 on 2/3 action. Our lifelinker gets killed by the Death Toucher. 1/1 trades there. They get another flyer out of their grave. This swaps with the larger zombie. Yeah, we do not have good attacks here, regardless of what we tap. So another pass here, and we're going to start getting chipped away at by these flyers. Actually pretty quickly now that we're down to 11. And they have a Blade Stitch Scab on the board to give them additional power. Well, they're down to 5 cards in their library. So we still have that one last hope. Now we start tapping down that 3 power flyer. But they have enough creatures now, and we're low enough on life total they can start making good aggressive attacks on the ground too. But we can chump block Marauder with a Morning Patrol. Take just 1 damage from it instead of 5. Because its ability will make us lose a life when our blocking creature dies. But then we bring Morning Patrol back from our grave as a 2/1 flyer to block Falcon Abomination. Then we just start tapping Baneclaw Marauder after that. Seems right to me. We could even go for the double block here to kill it. Each creature gets -1/-1, so that's... I guess if we double block it, they can choose not to kill the Morning Patrol, so that doesn't accomplish what we want. Yeah, so we don't double block it here. We'd have to triple block it. These would be 2 apiece. Yeah, no, just chump block here, I think. Cathar Commando. It's another blocker. So now we tap down Baneclaw Marauder. We have Morning Apparition to trade with Falcon Abomination. I guess we could still tap down Falcon Abomination, then tap Hook Haunt Drifter when it comes to our turn, and we can hit them for 2 in the sky with the Apparition. Larder Zombie checking out the top card of their library. They're going to keep it on top. Would be surprised to see them mill too much more now that they're down to 5 cards in library. Nebelgast Intruder. Just go for that right now to spread their board. Okay. And they just have the removal on top for Morning Apparitions. That's why they just go for the Intruder there. Rough stuff here. Just have nothing to block in the sky anymore, so we gotta tap down the flyer, but the Baneclaw Marauder shreds us up again. We can still chump block it to stop 4 of the damage, but we'll lose 1 life because we are chump blocking with a creature, which means the creature will die. And we'll lose a life to the triggered ability. We get into 6 here. If we don't block at all, we go to 1. Then we tap down 1 creature. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blockers. 6 blockers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 attackers. 1 gets through for 1 damage. We can't crack back for lethal. Go for the chump block here. So if we don't, we go to 1 life. Die to the flyers next turn. We would have to have an immediate lethal crackback for keeping a 1/1 around to matter. So I believe that they have lethal, potentially. We only have 8 blockers. They have 10 attackers, not 11. 2 creatures get in. We're at 5. I guess we survive, but barely. But yeah, we have to tap down the 3 flyer. 2 creatures get in, so these 2 get in. We can block everything else. We go to 2 life. We actually go to 1 life because we take 1 damage from the Marauder as well. Alright, 1 life. 1 hope, 1 dream. But that's going to do it. They've got lethal on board. Just the blue-black deck stabilizes after us bringing them down to, what, 3 life? Then the Graveyard Glutton gained them back up to 6, and they just did not stop casting spells after that point. So 1 and 2 for Mayonnaise and a really, really long game 3 there. So let's see if we can't get into a nice aggro mirror match here. Win or loss. If this game goes fast, I'll be happy, because that was a long one for sure. Alright, I'll keep this. We definitely need to hit lands, but because we're a monocolor deck, it doesn't matter what color the lands are. Any land we hit is going to get us there here. And we do hit a 2-drop, so even if we don't hit a land, we are attacking for 3, which is cool. And we do hit a land. Excellent. This is where this hand is now going to go off. 3 damage here, turn 2. 5 damage next turn if they don't get something out to block. If they do, a Blessed Defiance can let us gain a bunch of life and kill whatever it is that's going for the block. Of course, we draw Clarion Cathars as well. Really easy attack. Trade our 3-1 into their 2-3 and then drop 2 more creatures out. I guess they could block the Morning Patrol, let them bounce off. That's fine. We could Bless Defiance instead to kill the Vandal, but better to get more creatures out right now. Go for a quick kill with double Bless Defiance to sneak in some extra damage. And a Fangblade Brigand, a 3-4 here, with the ability to get first strike till end of turn. During the night, it does a lot more. Let's drop a Bereaved Survivor, see if we can get that flip off here, and hold up a Blessed Defiance. That makes pretty much any attack good for us. Any block they have good for us here. Cool. Flip the Survivor, get a 1-1. And when the Survivor attacks, we get to bring back our 3-1 to the battlefield, tapped and attacking with the Avenger's ability. That was a very good case for us. Now this Cathar Commando will come back if Avenger is still on the board attacking next turn. Which it likely will be. So Neonate's Rush going to kill the 1-1 flyer and draw them a card if they can't cast anything else here. We've got an incredibly brutal attack. They trade with Avenger, take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Unfortunately, they do get to kill the Avenger. We would have had lethal if they couldn't do that, because they'd trade with Avenger, we hit for 9, and +2 with Blessed Defiance. So Play with Fire, an excellent cheap piece of interaction for our opponent there. Attack everybody here, go for another Blessed Defiance. Just get this Vandal out of the way. And they are down to 7 now. 1 mana away from putting some 3-power flyers out, one of which has double strike. So we've got some big beats going on this game. We've got some more blockers. They can now double block a 3-3, but with Enduring Angel coming up, that's super fine. They can double block either of these to kill it. Pretty sure they go for the 3-3 if they're going for a double block. They're going to block both to be safe, but here's Enduring Angel. Get that 6 damage in the sky with 3 power and double strike. Pass turn here. It is now nighttime, so they could have Moonrager Slash for only 1 mana here. Attack all and see what happens. Concession, it is. So that will be a quick, aggressive victory for Mayonnaise. Heading into round 6 now. Round 5. Round 5 now. It feels like round 6 because of how long the game just before that was, but 2-2. An average start so far. Any game that we lose at this point will end it all, so let's try our best not to do that. 2-3 run would not be ideal, but it would not be the worst I have done. So we will keep this hand. Again, we've got that Cathar Commando turn 2 here. Got a Silverbolt up and ready. Our opponent is on black here. Black and blue again. Here's Cathar Commando. There's the 3rd mana, so we get to run out a Morning Patrol here. For a very similar start to last game. Pretty aggressive start. As soon as we hit a 4th mana, these Clarion Cathar is going to put a lot of creatures on the board, since we have 2 in hand here. 3 mana up from our opponent. We'll attack everybody here. This might be a Nebelgast Intruder. If it is, we'll just go ahead and bolt that and then cast a Trapper. They actually can't stop a trade from happening here. But I am still going to bolt the Intruder. And then play Trapper. And then Organ Hoarder from our opponent, a 3/2. Look at the top 3, put 1 into the hand and the rest into the graveyard. So that probably trades for Cathar Commando. They take 2, go to 12. We start dropping down Cathars then. Although we could use Trapper as well. Oh, Bless Defiance. Send in the team. Would be very surprised if Organ Hoarder does not trade here, and there it is. Clarion Cathars will be the follow-up play. Our board pretty wide again, a 2/3, a 3/3, and a 1/1 now. And another Organ Hoarder from our opponent. If we can keep the pressure on to kill them before they get enough mana to play some big spells here, we can get there, but this is another game against these blue-black decks. They can really stabilize if we don't kill them quickly here. So we need to do everything we can to do that. And we can cast Cathars and Bless Defiance this turn, so let's go ahead and do that. Send in the squad. Never mind on the Defiance there. Like holding up the Defiance to get 2 extra damage in here, potentially finding lethal. Because we've got 7 on the board, so if they can only play 1 creature, if they just tap out for another Organ Hoarder, we tap it down with Trapper and attack for 9 with Blessed Defiance. They do have an Overwhelmed Archivist in the grave they can bring back as an Archive Haunt. Shipwreck Sifters is the play. Draw a card and discard a card when they play it. If they discard a Disturb card or a Spirit, that will be a 2/3. If they hit a land here that's 2 mana plus 4 mana, they would have enough mana to bring back the Archive Haunt and have 2 blockers out this turn, which would keep them out of range of lethal for the turn. Alright. 2 mana to tap down the Sifters, 1 mana to cast Blessed Defiance. If they have a Flip the Switch in their hand for 3 mana, if we cast Blessed Defiance first, we could pay the 4, so they might choose not to counter it. And then we just Trapper and win. But the Trapper's on board, so the odds of them not realizing that if they don't counter Defiance, that we can just tap down Sifters and win, are very low. So let's just tap down Sifters. If they have Flip the Switch, they have Flip the Switch that stops the win here. They have something instant speed. It is stopping for them. Okay, so they have Defenestrate. So we do 1, 2, 3, 4 damage this way. We do 6 damage if we Bless Defiance. We could cast a Ritual Guardian, get another 1/1 flyer, or hit them for 2 more damage. I think we just cast Ritual Guardian then. Now that they are tapped out and they can't counter that. Six mana from our opponent now. Jaren Corrupted Bishop, that's a 2/3 and a 1/1 blocker. They do lose a life to cast it down to 4 now, but that is 2 blockers off the 1 card, which is going to be a big help to stabilize. And a Patrician, guys, so 4 blockers for our 4 attackers. Tap their best blocker down and hit with everything else. So we tap down one of the 2/3s here. See where Blessed Defiance gets us. They have any other non-token humans? They don't, so Jaren's ability doesn't matter. They could give things lifelink though, so it's better than Shipwreck Sifters, so we'll tap Shipwreck Sifters. So like we hit for 3 here if we buff a token. So that dies, these die. This bounces off, they take 1. So if this all goes off, they're going to have 2 creatures left over, and we're going to have 3 creatures left over, and they're going to be at 1 life if we Bless Defiance there. Alternatively, they could be at 3 life and have just a 2/3 left over, because we can kill Jaren with Bless Defiance if we do that. But we can't get the 1/1 flyer out of Bless Defiance if we do that. If we want to get a 1/1 flyer, we throw it here. We have 1 creature left. We have 3. But they're at 3 life. I feel like we killed Jaren. It's close. Maybe we even hold on to Blessed Defiance again. Hold on to Blessed Defiance again. I think we just made it really obvious we have something here. They can probably figure out what it is. So I guess that's an issue. But now if any single creature gets in, we win. But they are so close to stabilizing. Like, this is going to be another one of those games where it's just going to be 1 turn for victory either way. Like, either they were 1 turn from stabilizing or we were 1 turn from killing them. Whoever loses this one is going to have some hurt feelings. Send in Jaren to gain some life here. All right. Go to 5. Stromkirk Blood Thief has just a 2/2. Alright, well now they don't have a good block for... Oh my god, double Blessed Defiance just gets there, doesn't it? Now they don't have a good block for Morning Patrol. Whatever they block with just gets eaten up. So... tap that down, they block there. Take 5. They have 1 blue up. Oh, they're going to block there, okay. That works too. Holding on to the Blessed Defiance is just going to get there. The second Blessed Defiance off the top. Huge top deck there. That is going to lead us into 3 and 2. Heading into round 6 now. We're going to have at least an average record with this deck, which is kind of a victory for the monocolored deck. I really should have been in probably a black-white deck here. We would have ended up with a pretty sweet deck. Or a blue-white deck, either of those. Pretty open, pretty sweet. But, hey, at least this way, I got the experience of playing a mono-white draft deck in the Innistrad Midnight Hunt format. And we've got a sweet hand this game. Double farmhand to really make sure we're going to get that Enduring Angel Man on turn 5. So our opponent's on a blue deck. We actually don't need the white sources yet. We have 4 in hand already, so I'm just going to go for Cathar Commando first to get the most damage out onto the board if they don't play a creature here. So blue deck casting Secrets of the Key to investigate and draw a card there. Shipwreck Sifters here, turn 3 from our opponent, draw a card and discard a card. Another blue source discarded. Are they mono blue as we are mono white? So I kind of want to Cathar Commando this this Silver Bolt so that they can't use it on our Enduring Angel, but maybe they'll use the Silver Bolt by then anyway. Yes, I don't actually want to attack into the Sifters because I want to leave Commando around so that I can shoot the Silver Bolt with it if need be. So I think I want to play Ritual Guardian here. Maybe one of these two gets killed by the Silverbolt. If they don't, we can go ahead and use Cathar Commando to kill the Silverbolt next turn so that that is off the board before we cast our 3/3 flying double strike. Because if they are mono blue, that is going to be one of the few ways that they have to just permanently take out a creature. Alright, and now we do need to make sure that we hit a 5th mana for Enduring Angel, so we are going to need to cast a farmhand this turn, so let's just drop one out before we play a land to keep our 5th land concealed from our opponent here, so they don't know what's in our hand. And then we are going to need to blow up the Silverbolt before we cast Angel, so we need to leave at least 1 mana up here, but I think we just attack with Ritual Guardian. Hit for 3, they're down to 17. And the plan is for Cathar Commando to clear out that Silverbolt in their end step. They have cast Bait Hook Angler. I guess the problem is, if they always hold up this 3 mana, then they can respond to us Cathar Commandoing bolts by using bolts anyway. I was not thinking that through. The annoying part of instant speed effects is whoever does their effect first loses the interaction every time. So if I want to destroy that, they can just be like, oh, well then I'll just use it. Haha, now you've lost Commando and Guardian. That actually ends up pretty terribly for us, which is a bad time. Yeah, I guess we're just not casting Enduring Angel for a while. We are very much hoping to get that Silverbolt just drawn out by something here. The Bait Hook Angler is going to be a really annoying blocker for us. It just comes back from the grave, so it like trades off there, and then they have a 1/2 flyer. They only have 2 cards left in their hand, though, so that's not so bad. Yeah, we can just send in the Ritual Guardian, let that trade happen. Farmhand for another land here. They'll bolt something eventually, or tap out a bolt mana. Eventually. And then we'll just get an Enduring Angel out here and start slapping. Alright, they passed the turn, so if they had an instant to cast there, they did not want to tap out of that Silverbolt mana. Playing very conservatively with it. 2 mana for Hook Haunt Drifter, saving the 3 mana up to use a Silverbolt. Yep. It's a big standoff here. We're just staring at each other. And I'm never going to have Coven for these farmhands, which is unfortunate. We have not drawn any of our 2-power creatures, so they're not going to be 3/3 lifelinkers anytime soon. Which means we're not even really attacking in anymore. Yeah, we're really not. We could Bless Defiance, but that won't even trigger Coven, so we can't like Bless Defiance and then surprise Coven flip. So I think we just pass. We just don't have good attacks on board. Even if we didn't care about losing commando, this wouldn't be a great position to attack with it, because we clear out 1/1/2, but then the other one keeps all these shut off. Alright, cool. They are going to finally use the Silverbolt, so a farmhand is going to get finished off here, and Enduring Angel will live to tell the tale. I'm going to hold on to Blessed Defiance here. Well, never mind. They are, from what we know, mono blue, so now we have to worry about a counterspell. I don't think we can just run out Enduring Angel when they have 5 untapped mana here, just banking on them being stuck off of a second color. Because if they're mono blue here, that almost definitely means they've got a counterspell in hand, and like, if Enduring Angel doesn't do anything this game, then we have absolutely no action. Nothing else that we have is doing anything here. So I don't think we can afford to take any chances on losing Enduring Angel without it accomplishing much. And they do have a Stormrider Spirit to flash in there since they didn't have to counter something. Unfortunately, exactly a low enough toughness to survive the Sun Gold Barrage. And there's Delver of Secrets from our opponent, meaning our opponent gets to hold up this 4 mana still. Alright, Cathar's time. Maybe no counterspells there, because that does just fully resolve, and it is a big deal on this board, attacking in with a 3/3, and getting more blockers here for us. Any of Commando's trades are fine now. At this point, it's just going to trade with any of these at any point anyway. Even if we clear whatever amount of the other ones from the board. We can Defiance and still hold up Barrage here. We get a 1/1 flyer that way. The 1/1 flyer is not great, but does a little bit of work. I just don't think it affects things enough here. It doesn't block or attack into these well at all. Neither the Insectile Aberration, so just let that happen, I guess. Not really getting much out of a 1/1 flyer at this point in the game. So Secrets of the Key. Flashback twice, or investigate twice off of the flashback. Attacking in with Stormrider Spirit. We will start attacking in with our Clarion Cathars. They pass the turn here. A second to Blessed Defiance. Get on in there, Cathars. With double Blessed Defiance, we could just send in everybody if we want. I don't think I want to, though. Alright, well. Honestly, our opponent is playing a really good draw-go control deck where, because they have cards like Secrets of the Key and Stormrider Spirit in here, being able to do good things with their mana during our turn is never really going to be a problem for them. So I feel like they're not going to have an issue holding up the mana for a counterspell at pretty much any point in this game. So if they have a counterspell, it's going to hit our Angel. So just cut our losses now, stop trying to play around it, and drop this out. The alternative is to do absolutely nothing this turn, and we're just hitting them for 3, they're hitting us for 3. We're technically tied in that race on board, but they have 2 clues to draw 2 cards here. Alright, well, goodbye, Enduring Angel. I tried. It's a bounce spell? Is this truly nothing from our opponent? Have they just drawn a lot of dead cards in hand here? Even if they have Locked in the City, we get one attack out of the Enduring Angel. Shipwreck Sifters. Oh my god. I guess we should have just ran out the Angel immediately, because it's looking like no counterspell there. But 4 mana up could very well just mean a card that puts it on top of our library, something like that, and then they counter it after that. No. Alright, if they don't chump block this Enduring Angel, we buff it up to 7 power. And double strike them for 14 on the spot. Which I feel like they probably have like Locked in the Cemetery here. Potentially. I guess that would be a good reason to keep Cathar Commando around, so we shouldn't have sent that in so willy-nilly. But like, if they don't block here, they just die. That's a no block, isn't it? They just went straight to combat. They're like, nah. Is that a 14 to face here? That's a 14 to face here. Enduring Angel, double Bless Defiance. Wow, we have just luck sacked into victory twice in a row here off of the back of double Bless Defiance. To find lethal where our opponents found it pretty unlikely. So I think that definitely means they had a Locked in the Cemetery in hand, so I definitely did not play that game ideally. We should have kept that Cathar Commando around because the one permanent blue removal spell I could think of in the format is an enchantment that we could blow up with Cathar Commando, so got really lucky at the end there. So surprised still that they did not have a counterspell there. Really felt like the kind of deck that would be running a lot of counterspells. They had a lot of good instant speed ways to make use of their mana, which is how you can really make the downside of having to hold up mana for counterspells a very, very little drawback. So I'm going for Candlegrove Witch here because against blue, I expect cards like the Shipwreck Sifters and the 2/1 Disturb on turn 2, cards that I wouldn't want Cathar Commando to trade into, so I'd rather play the creature that can just jump into the sky this turn, which is what we're going to do. We're just going to jump Candlegrove Witch into the sky and not worry about whatever they played to block with. Now, trading Cathar Commando for Candlegrove Witch would not have been that bad of a trade, so the other play would have worked out fine, but that's just my reasoning for playing the Witch first. Just to be able to jump over whatever kind of annoying Disturb creature they were planning on playing this turn. And a Falcon Abomination here, turn 3. We'll take any trade we can get for that. A 3/2 into a 2/2 flyer, that's fine by me. A 2/2 flyer into a 2/2 flyer, also fine by me. And we get to drop down a Clarion Cathars now, make sure our Coven is active for a long time to come here. Now having 0, 1, 2, and 3 power creatures. Worgen Hoarder, there it is. The card of the format. They draw their best card and mill 2 lands. And pass the turn. No instant speed interaction here, but we can sure tap down that Worgen Hoarder to get in with a 3/3 and a 2/2 flyer. If we do that, we don't get to cast 2 spells here, though, and we could choose to do that instead. Just get in for 2 damage this turn. Go wide on board. That seems fine to me. I also don't think trading Cathars for Hoarder would be that bad, but I don't think I want to do it here with a Gavany Trapper on the board. Let's go Morning Patrol, slam into Cathar Commando in their end step. I guess this lets them have a counter spell for Commando. If we just ran it out during our turn, there was no way they could counter it. So this is one of the very few instances. Better to just play the flash card during our turn. So a bit of a misplay there again. They are going to tap out some mana for Faithful Mending. Gain 2 life, draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. A little bit of looting going on. It did discard a Morning Patrol, which they can bring back as Morning Apparition for 4. So we're going to get some value that way. It's definitely a thing. Alright, here's the Cathar Commando in the end step. Could have tapped down one of the blockers instead so that they'd both be tapped this turn, but... Ooh, Silver Bolt can also just permanently kill one of them instead if we want to do that. But I think I would rather save Silver Bolt for now. Trap the Hoarder. Attack with everything that can get past a 2-2, which is most of our cards. We could even trade Cathar Commando and that would not be that bad. Yeah, it gets one of their cards off the board permanently. The only creature that's not a good attacker here is the 1/1. So they take the one trade they can here and take 7 damage. Maybe a Blessed Defiance or something from them. Startle would also stop some damage. Geist Wave it is. Throw the Clarion Cathars back into our hand. Okay. So we can recast that later and get another token out of it. So they may be planning on holding up some counter mana to deal with that. Or they just want to slow us down here, which is also fair. Devoted Graphkeeper is the play. Now when they cast cards from their graveyard, they get to tap something down. And they're holding the 3 mana up to be able to counter Clarion Cathars here. But they could also just not have a 3 or less mana card in hand. I feel like they would not Geist Wave the Clarion Cathars if they couldn't counter it, because we do get another permanent 1/1 from it. I don't know. Either way, I like tapping down Graphkeeper because that can come back from the grave anyway, and then just shooting Hoarder. So if they do have a counterspell in hand, that's their plan for turn. This plays pretty well. If they don't, this is still pretty solid, because I definitely don't want to be trading with Disturb cards here. Another Nebelgast Intruder. This card always coming in to ruin my day. Very annoying flyer. Just eats the Candlegrove Witch for free. Another Graphkeeper, oh dear. Didn't mill any Disturb cards at least. But they can use the Graphkeeper at instant speed. Because they have an instant with flashback in their graveyard, the Faithful Mending. If they recast this from their graveyard, they tap 2 of our creatures at instant speed and get all of the effects off of it, of course. So that is really going to stop our aggression here. Alright. Show me the counterspell if you did have it. They did have it. Alright, well. I thought I got like Mega Got by Nebelgast Intruder and they never had a counterspell the whole time, but they actually just had both. So either way we play there, we get got hard, we get punished. They are down to 7 at least. Play Gale Drifter here. Yeah, this is where these Disturb decks just get heinous. Because they've got 4 creatures to block with, 3 of which are just going to come back from the grave and block again. I guess at least the Graph Keepers can only block flyers, but still it's a pretty huge deal. Making Morning Patrol a 3/4 is really good here, because they have to double block to kill it now. So that's pretty good. So I think we even just make Silversmith a 3/4 as well. The only way they kill them is with a double block, so we tap down Gale Drifter here, because that's the only one that can block non-flying creatures. When brought back from the grave, it'll be a 2/2 flyer, can block whatever, but the Graph Keepers can only block flyers when they are resurrected from the grave. So Silversmith was a massive draw for us here. That gives us a chance here, even after all that. And they go down to 3. Again, being able to Faithful Mending at instant speed here is going to be very good for them. Very good defensive play to tap down both of our 3/4s. So I am guessing that is their line of choice here next turn. But we will see. Almost definitely with Blessed Defiance, we might yet again be able to just find lethal with this 1/1 if they let it through. So Faithful Mending, sure. Tap Silversmith, tap Patrol. We'll attack with a 1/1. And it might trade with a Graph Keeper, and it might just get in if it just gets in. I guess it's not lethal. I forgot that Faithful Mending gains life too. Dang it! If that was just an instant speed Faithless Looting, it wouldn't get there, but it's a little more than that. It does gain life. Ah, shucks. If it weren't for the life gain, we did get in that attack. Well, Morning Patrol on the board. We're still very close. They're down to 4 life. We get to use Trapper twice now since we didn't use it during that combat. We get to use it twice during their end step. We're okay with whatever they want to attack us with because that'll be less creatures to block with, so we're going to let them do whatever they want in combat and then tap creatures down in their end step. Just trying to find a way to get in for at least 2 damage here. Oh, they're going to tap down the Trapper here just right now. Oh yeah, because they get to tap both creatures anyway. Well, I guess we're tapping something down right now, so we might as well tap down the highest power attacker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, they don't have lethal here, but they can hit us for a lot. If they have Blessed Defiance, I guess they lethal us with their Blessed Defiance. That would be some divine justice for this draft, because Blessed Defiance has been a winner of most of our games. So they're just not even going to attack with anything that can block here. Which is the only way they survive past the Blessed Defiance. Because we tap down one thing, attack with everybody else, and we only hit them for 3. Enduring Angel. Do we try to get lethal here? Or do we play Enduring Angel? I feel like we try to get lethal here. They have 8 flying power on the board. Right? Graph Keeper's going to bring something back. I guess all they have on board is 1 toughness, so everything they block with is just straight dead, so they can't crack back at us here. Maybe I just attack with everything without using Trapper? And that leaves me open to playing Angel post-combat, or trying to Bless Defiance for the kill if they flub it up here. I guess I'm going to go for that. There's definitely an argument for just going for the Trapper kill here. Tap 1 down, attack with everybody, hope that we get a Bless Defiance in on whatever they don't block. But then if they just don't block the 1/1, we're not going to get the kill there. And we're not going to have the mana up to cast Enduring Angel. So that would feel pretty bad. They only have 2 mana up, so we know that they can't counter Enduring Angel. Oh, they're going to go for a double block here. We might find a Blessed Defiance kill here. They're going to double block 2 things. Maybe. Nope, they took it back. They took back the double block on Morning Patrol. They They are relining up the blocks here. They don't like that idea. Letting 3 damage in, Blessed Defiance would be lethal if this resolves here. If they don't have a Geist Wave or something, and if they do have a Geist Wave, we still have 5 mana up to cast an Enduring Archangel. Or just Enduring Angel. And that's going to be it. Another victory with Blessed Defiance. Coming in out of nowhere, that extra 2 damage to finish the game off. Good lord. That is 5 wins now for the mono white deck. 5 wins and 2 losses. We are not only breaking even, we're going to get an additional 100 gems on top. Whew. And I believe after the 0 and 2 start, maybe the 1 and 2 start. Yeah, I think it was 1 and 2 to start with. Alright, this is a very keepable hand here. Good curve of Farmhand, Survivor, and Guardian to get Coven on early. And Survivor can bring back Farmhand from the grave, which is going to be a good deal. Get another land out of it, thin the deck a bit. Yeah, we can't attack in with this Crasher if we just play a Survivor here, so let's play a creature with high enough power to attack into that Festival Crasher. Festival Crasher, a pretty fun draft around if you draft a lot of cheap combat tricks. You can often find lethal as early as turn 4, turn 5. Just get multiple Crashers out there and just start spamming out spells. So send in a Ritual Guardian here. If they double block, we just kill one of them. So they probably just take 3. They certainly do, so here's the Survivor. And now we'll be able to flip our Ambitious Farmhand next turn, attack with a 3/3 lifelinker and a 3/2. The Crasher's coming in. Well, you know, if this is how we're going to die, if we're going to die to our opponent finding lethal on turn 4 with double Crasher, so be it. No blocks. Let's see what you've got. Show me the money. We are going to have 6 power of lifelink to attack back with next turn, so if we're not immediately dead, I'm very fine with however much damage they do. Alright, they just do 6 damage. Let's do 6 damage. Right back at them. Wait for Guardian's Coven to trigger, and then flip Farmhand. Because now Guardian has lifelink and Farmhand has lifelink this turn, instead of just one of the two. They are down to 7. We are back up to 20. Skip right on through the turn. Going to hold those up as blockers. We'll save Silverbolt to shoot something down after they choose what they're gonna like combat trick on or anything like that. So let's just send in the 3 power creatures here and see what happens. So a block on both. If they cast a spell here, these will all be trades. So we've got Silverbolt to save our 3/3 lifelinker if we need it. They're going to burn the Accursed to permanently kill Survivor and give these both a plus here. So everything leaves the board if I don't Silverbolt. If I do Silverbolt, then we'll still have a Cathar, but everything else will be dead. Yeah, let's keep the Cathar out on board. We definitely need to draw some gas at some point. Our draws have not been ideal this game. But I think going down to just a 3/3 lifelink on board is probably better than going down to just a single removal spell when they're at 7 life. Especially when it's just a small removal spell that can only kill a 3 toughness or less creature. Alright, so hungry for more here, going to go ahead and start gaining them some life. Triggering some black-red life loss spells here, potentially. Cards that get better if I've lost life this turn. Or making the Eaten Alive a little cheaper. Celestus Sanctifier as the draw for turn. Well, anytime it flips between day and night, we can set up the top cards of our library, throw any lands there into the graveyard. Far from the worst draw here. I actually think Blessed Defiance would be our worst draw at this point, since we have like no creatures on board. Cathar Commando, nice, we can flash that in during their end step, make it less likely they slam down a removal spell on it, just in case all their removal is sorcery speed that is left in their hand. Double Interloper it is. That's going to put a clock on us. 4 turns till we're dead to those. But 4 turns till they're dead to this Cathar Commando as well. So we will see who wins this race. Oh yeah, they have Hungry for More. They still have the flashback on that. Yeah, that's them winning the race for sure. We need to draw really well, and Ardent Elementalist is going to be very, very good for them. Bring back a Burn from the Ashes to clear out a blocker of ours and deal 2 more damage to us. Ambitious Farmhand, that would draw our 11th Plains. That is a thing. But we don't survive. We get hit for 4 in the sky, plus 2 damage from Burn the Accursed, so that is going to be game there. The dead on board, no Coven to flip that Ambitious Farmhand. Not the ideal turn of events for us in that final game, but that is still going to end the draft with quite a positive record. 5 wins and 3 losses, not bad at all for the Meme Dream mono white deck here. Usually I go back through the deck, say what I would change, little tips and tricks for the format that I would say. Mainly, don't do this. Don't draft mono white just because it seems like it would be a fun time. I did have fun, so if that's all that you're concerned with, then sure, go ahead. If you are genuinely really trying to win and draft the best deck possible, though, by being in multiple colors, that is how you know you are more likely to be able to pick up decent cards in every single pack instead of getting cut out of a couple packs. If one pack doesn't have any cards in your main color, at least you can get something good in your secondary color. So had we been like white-black here, we wouldn't have to play the more mediocre cards in here like Ritual Guardians, Sun Gold Barrage. Like imagine this deck except minus all that, minus some more mediocre cards, maybe Sanctifier, maybe a Cathar Commando, maybe both commandos. Cut something like this and then just have, you know, Eaten Alive, Defenestrate, Double Hobbling Zombie, Flesh Taker, something like that. Like, then this is just a great black-white deck instead of a mediocre mono-white deck, because you do end up having to have quite a few filler cards if you stick to just one color there. So that would be my general advice for the draft, but of course, this was just a kind of for fun, ridiculous draft here, and it worked out. Still ended up a net positive on gems here. Big overperformer being that Blessed Defiance there. Won us so many games out of nowhere, just giving +2 power for 1 mana. And yeah, there were a lot of instances early game where getting a flyer out of it and some life gain helped a lot too. So Blessed Defiance was very, very good in this deck today. But that is going to end the draft for the day. As always, if you have watched all the way to the end of the video and you have enjoyed it and you want to see more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to let that YouTube algorithm know to send these videos to yourself and others. So once again, thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you again very soon for some more Magic Arena.